Men and women's positions in traditional families differ in the context of social gender roles. Marriage, too, is being postponed and is more often foregone. And couple relationships, both marital and non-marital ones, have become more fragile. These changes have led to increasingly complex family compositions and to a previously unprecedented diversity of family forms and relationships over the life course. On this episode of Simply Gents, we zhuzhed things up a bit and invited a couple of ladies as we interrogate everyday realities of families in modern societies. Our focus is on men and women's roles in the family, as the family can no longer be described simply as a set of well-defined roles. Well, let's meet the gents and ladies and find out if roles are negotiated on a daily basis in modern societies.
There's an issue. A lot of people are just talking about. So Tony was saying, how would you stop saying we? So I'm not going to say we, but a lot of people struggle with this, both men and women, because we've got certain roles that the society ascribed on us as people. And now in this modern world, because where I come from, I've got a mom, I've got my dad, well, he's passed now, but when we are in a home setup, I know this is my dad and this is my mom. And there are certain roles now that society ascribed that, okay, if you're a woman, this is your role. If you're a man, this is your role. But in this modern world that we are living in, for example, Rudo, she's director of something at her workplace. And you get home, maybe there's friction here because the men might think Rudo has brought her role from work. She has brought it home. My wife is an editor at her workplace. So when we are home, is she bringing that editor hat? Come on, man. Is she trying to edit everything, at the house? So this is what a lot of people struggle with. I don't know about well, when we are here, we talk about our experiences. So I'm sure we're going to enjoy some experiences. He's a bank of stories. He comes up with crazy stories.
Hey, you're my guy.
Yeah. Same WhatsApp group.
Yeah. But he's a fountain of knowledge. Okay. Yeah, but I'm glad that you guys are here because there is that aspect that we are missing because we are just talking as boys. And boys talk at the end of the day. So now that you're here, maybe you will share and, we also get an opportunity to see how women think. So I don't know.
Can you handle it?
In the social world or the sociology world, they call it what? Equality. I think that's the word, right? That's the word, equality. Because there are a lot of NGOs out there that push issues, the equality this, equality that. But I don't want us to really go there. We want to look at the relationships that we've got and the marriage setup. What should men do? What should women do? You are a CEO, I'm a what? Should we then come? And it then borders on submission and all that. Yeah, the nonsense that I'm talking about.
I'm glad you said it's nonsense. I'm glad you're actually saying it's nonsense. Because now
you're gonna Will Smith him.
Yeah, no.
I think it's a situation where I wouldn't even want to use the word equality. I like the word respect.
Yeah.
RESPECT. It's about respect. I feel like even though kubasa kwangu ndichi respectwa, and when I come home, I don't have to pretend like I'm nothing kuti murume I feel like he's something. If I've got leadership skills and if I find myself maybe applying them subconsciously, my man should be like, hey, mukadzi wangu anorana zvinhu, and he should appreciate that as a strength. He mustn't feel kuti asumukire ini ndofana kudzikira. What if I was born already on a platform? I was born to do this thing. I'm a superstar. And kana ndiri kubasa ndinotonzi chef. Saka when I get home, I would also like to be respected. I'm not taking away from the respect that I give him. But do men actually know kuti vakadzi vanoda kutongokosheswa kunzi mama vabva kubasa. Hey vana kunde inovhurira mama gate, mama vabva kubasa. She is somebody. She is someone, and respect yongoperera kuna baba ko mama avadiwe.
And that's regardless of actually her job. I don't think it should be. It's got nothing to do with her 8 to 5. It should also just be the fact that okay, she's my wife and she's also the mother of my kids. So obviously, like just adding on to what Pauline said, I don't think that men and women are on the same level. It's a fact. We're not. We're trying to.
What level is this?
We're not equal. We're not equal.
I think that we complement one another.
Yes.
I don't think there's a superior gender, there's an inferior gender, but the way we've been conditioned throughout the years, like it's been crazy, man. We have enjoyed privilege as men throughout history, and it's only starting to change now. And we don't like it. Like we feel threatened, and it's not. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, in the early 80s or even in the 70s, do you know the reason why we don't have many female musicians in Zim? Is because they were not allowed to sing professionally back in the day because it was deemed as a man's, trade. They would even go as far as men imitating women's voices on songs. You know this. Because women were not allowed to do certain things, right? I grew up in a household where my father was the breadwinner, right? He was the breadwinner, right? As long as I was alive, my mother never set foot she was never employed anywhere. Like she stayed at home. And that was the setup. Then month end or whatever, so he was the man. So we've enjoyed a lot of privilege over the years. Because the tables are starting to turn now. We have issues in society. We have issues in the workplace, in the homes, because men feel threatened that women are starting to do the things that were traditionally men's things.
Tony, I'm not threatened.
No, I'm speaking generally.
You know what, Zam? Because from what Tony is saying, it's more like there's an awakening that is happening. In I was raised, that socialization aspect. Because that's what boys do. You grow up like that. Because there are things that are probably ascribed to men that we do, even issue of stoicism. You're being taught that men don't cry and all that. And when you look at the young girls, you buy dolls. I remember you bought a doll set and that for your daughter, because that's how you are socializing your daughter. And I'm trying to imagine you buying Zmotkari and what for her. In this, because the reawakening that he's talking about, I don't see it like that. Because whether we like it or not, we are still going to see men and women at the end of the day.
So gender roles are gender roles, right? Gender roles are gender roles. We can't run away from the fact that we are two different genders, and we can be better at one thing than another can be better.
I think the problem with equality came pakaitika Beijing conference. Equality. Hey, we need to be equals with men. There was nothing wrong with it. But I think equality is not the word. Yeah. I think they're changing it to words, they're starting to use words like equity, where it's fairness, because like you said, gender roles, there are certain things that come with nature. I am a nurturer, just naturally. So I will like playing with dolls because you know what I mean? So that gender roles, I agree with you, Sam. Like the words now should be changed.
So taking it further, societies need to develop and adapt, right? Evolving is perfect. And if we understand what is good evolution and what is bad evolution? Because bad evolution actually does happen and does take place, right? We have certain things which will come in. And I mean, even when you look at it, gender, what is gender? You know, people are now being told you can define your own gender. But what does that mean in terms of gender roles? Have we pushed the envelope too far? You know, so I don't want to go into that tricky space. I'm just saying how it is we, you know, you can go to certain areas where people say, actually, you know what? Maybe we've gone too far. Come back a little bit and dial it back. What we've got to understand is, even though we've got gender roles, and I love the word equity, because equality and fairness doesn't exist, unfortunately, in this world that we live in. So what we must do is we must talk about equal opportunities. So if we are saying that we've got the gender roles that are different, if a boy and a girl have the same opportunities to go to school and get educated, great. If one chooses one path in life and the other chooses another path in life, great. If a man and a woman both have an opportunity to go to work, great. If a couple makes a decision that no, one of the parties will stay at home and the other goes to work, great. That's a collective decision. That's a decision within their family unit. And for anyone to turn around and say, well, hey, that's a problem because she's a housewife and wakes up and goes to the gym every day, but they don't know what the dynamics of those relationships are.
I like how you then winged it in back, because we don't want to trade on this space, my roles and gender, what, because that becomes too technical. But what I want us to really look at, you deal with a lot of stats. When you look at marriages now, the rate at which they are failing is astounding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you now try to understand what's really happening. And to my story, no, we have to try to
Look, on paper, we can talk about equity all we want and, you know, equal opportunities. But in the real world, guys, it's not how it's happening. And the thing is, do you know that it goes even as far as how we choose partners as men? You understand? Like during the dating phase.
How do you choose?
This is how you scout for a partner. I'm speaking generally, right? This is not personal to me, right? So you hear people say things like, and what they are defining is mundu arungu express opinion yake on a certain issue, because what they are used to, what I am used to is mdarawangu aichakataura something baguti he's gonna say something and that goes. Like, it's not a debate. It's not up for discussion. What he says goes. You understand?
How do you feel? Like, are you that kind of man? Are you a man after your father? It's hard, or like, are you like the new kind of man?
I would like to think that I'm an evolved man, that I am woke. Yes, and not devolved. I'm a single father.
So in another world, that kind of man, are weak.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. Let's go back to what he said. And it's something that we've harped on in the past. The single biggest decision you're ever going to make in your life is what?
Who you marry.
Exactly. Right? Then you let silly things like love determine who you marry. Right? Yes. Listen to me. You will let an emotion determine what you do. How many times in a day, in a week, do you feel an emotion? And then you have a thought and you're like, I will not act on that emotion. You do that repeatedly. When you are in love with a person, you might say, I really, really want to marry that person. But in your head, the flags, you know? It's like a signal parade. The red flags are just popping up. And you choose to ignore them. You know, it's due diligence. So all of these things that we're talking about, the dynamics that happen to go wrong in a life, in a relationship, in a marriage, etc. You knew from day one. If you didn't know from day one, you knew from day 3. If you didn't know from day 3, you knew after the 3rd month, right? You knew. And you know what I do? You know what I do? We talk about personal things. I call it the other shoe.
I got great piece of advice from him before I got married.
What did I say?
He was like, mind my language, mind my French, but he was like, everyone has their own BS. Yeah. So choose the BS that you can handle.
Yeah. So my version of it is, Being unemployed is hard. Going to work is hard. Having children is hard. Not having children is hard. Right? Running a business is hard. Being employed by someone else is hard. Choose your heart.
So when you were
Choose your
Can
heart.
I ask something? Can I ask something?
She was shaking her head.
So Cool noted in the dating, in the courting stages, you're saying you get the red flags, right? But also the flip side of it is taking into account that everyone's putting forward their best foot, right? No, so everyone's putting forward their best foot and they're going out of their way to show that, okay, I'm the one that you should marry and stuff like that, right? Cool, you get married. And then what are we saying about the time when things actually flip when you're married?
It doesn't flip. Do you know what it just? Do you know what happens? No, it doesn't flip. Do you know what happens? Do you know what happens? It doesn't flip. So it's the same thing like money, right? People say money changes people. It doesn't. It amplifies people, right? So if you are a horrible person, when you have money, you will be an even more horrible person. If you are fundamentally a man, when you have money, you're going to cheat.
But it's a change to what you...
Yes, but so what you've got to understand is that fundamentally that was always there. What stopped you from seeing it? Did you stop seeing it because that person is such a phenomenal actor that they deserve an Oscar? And very few people are. Because it's impossible to maintain that mask 100% of the time. And what happens is you'll slip. And then you'll look and you'll be like, hang on, what did I see there?
Men be out there looking for strong women, women who've got their head on straight, women who can make $1 out of 15 cents. And then the minute that they have this woman, they take away her wings, they clip off her wings. But then that's what maybe even drew you to this woman. You know, she's holding it down. Yeah. And then when you have her, you now just wanted to...
What do you mean by clipping off the wings, and what do you mean?
The clipping of the wings. I mean, okay, fine. I'm giving you an example. Practical and like my band is comprising of about 7 or 8 men, some of whom are older than me, who I command, overstand. My brand, I carry it around. So when I'm even in the presence of men, there are some men who might admire, hey, this lady, while she's shooting, what an amazing woman. You want me to focus on mapoto.
Do you know what the problem is here? Do you know what the problem is here?
That last part's not too bad.
Yeah, it's really important. That's the important stuff.
Of who I am as a woman, I will adapt to that. But will you still be able to accommodate that I'm an ambitious woman and I've got dreams and I was born with the strength to do these things?
Yes, you're a phenomenal woman. You sing really well. You command your band really well. And maybe when we started dating, these things were happening. But sadly, we don't live in isolation. I'm meeting my friends. Because these are my friends. We are sitting down. Hey, but how do you let mukadzi achimboenda only 3 days vari kuvumba vadzoka then voenda uko? And because we are human beings, we talk about these things.
Because you're weak, Howard.
No.
But even when we're not even when I agree with Howard in that even when it's family, guys.
Yes.
Society. In Nini right now, I am in media. I've been in it for a long time. You know, I was shooting till 1 a.m. yesterday. My husband was waiting for me till I finished. Yeah, he could be okay with it, but his mama, his dad, his sister, are they okay with it?
Who's the most important person in your life? Who's the most important person in your life?
My children, my husband.
Who's the most important person in your life?
Me.
Absolutely. Right? So he goes on a lot about mental health. Right? And we've had this thing constantly being escalated and being elevated. In society, people will always say things to you, about you, and even when you're not around. Yeah. You've got to determine at what stage you let that stuff affect you. Because there's always stuff, as kids, even talking about it in this context of what's happened, because it's very poignant. Sticks and bricks may break my bones, but words will never harm me. That's a lie. Because words can cut, and they can cut deeply. But what do you choose to do? Do you choose to keep referencing back to those words or listening. And if you are in a proper, strong, loving relationship, how would you get home and you say, wifey, you know what, right? I was hanging with Tony and Sam and they were going on. And they're saying 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's easy to, yes, I agree. No, I agree it's easy to say. What I'm saying is we need to graduate beyond the norm. We're talking about evolving, aren't we?
But you know what? I can evolve, but my in-laws might not evolve.
There is no blanket idea that will suit everybody. You know, I was raised in a very traditional home where my mother was a stay-at-home mother and she was happy doing that. And then I've also been exposed to the other side of that where you have people, women doing things as much as we do as men, and it's completely fine.
I'm with you.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, who's sleeping in the same bed? You and your husband.
But who is influencing my husband's decision?
Now he must make
He's
that
got a
decision
mother.
who is important in his life.
Zam is being too academic.
You're being very.
I'll tell you why.
We don't
I'll
like
tell you
painting
why.
it picture
Because
perfect.
you are in a relationship, Zamchia. There are certain things Jaunoita as an individual, but now you're taking cognizance of the next person. Some of the things you're toning down because of the next person. Yes, because you're in a relationship, and you are being influenced. So whatever influences you, yes, you're not going to and say that, no, you are your own person and all that, but the environment that you're operating in will have an influence on you.
For you, it could be easy because you're a strong character, but not everyone is a strong character.
Male, not a strong character.
A male
He's
strong character.
He's a male first.
You know, I like Zam and Tony. They usually speak sense, but I think it borders on them being too bookish, too academic, because they then appear as if they don't live on this planet. Because there are certain things that are happening in this world that we should always talk about, things that are happening. You know, the differences that are there between men and women and how people are living wherever they are. Look, we're talking about divorce rates, high divorce rates in Zimbabwe in particular, you know, amongst young people. What's really causing this? And we can't really run away from this because this is the real world.
I can't iron to save my life. I can't iron clothes.
Choose not to.
I can't. I've tried. It doesn't come out as nice and crispy. And you know how my sister does it and my mom? It doesn't look like that when I do it. Yeah. But my man, he loves these things. He likes it. But you know what? So you know what? Yeah, I know aina hembe dzake. I know aina mashet ake. But I can imagine sometimes the advantage is he's also very strong. Like you, Sam, he understands these situations. But I know of some men who might not be as strong. Yokuti mumba munoshika. Vamachimbo variku aina shet. My machimbo ari pa TV achiona zvavo Pink Diaries. Tete kana uti amwene vosvika mwana wavo uyu ari kuaina sheti ini ndakagara. Let's be realistic.
Something as simple as kuti musikana wangu anomwadoro. You understand? Like just that simple. Like just she drinks alcohol, right? Everything is all good, right? Until the day that we get married and then there's a wedding somewhere. Yeah? And then Murora akabata whether a cider kana uti chichi kana uti whiskey or whatever. Vanotanga kutokwenyana kutoti kunai Anthony. Kundochi chawatiti, right, you know?
Okay,
Can I ask, I'm glad you respect that. I want to ask something. I'm coming for you. I want to ask something. So what Sam said about the in-laws, etc., what role does your partner, so the male partners, right, have in stepping up to their family and saying that, you know what, this is who my wife is and stuff like that. She's coming into the family. So it's actually up to the man to stand up with his big chest and protect her. Because you can't be saying that, hey, I'm going to provide I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Protect your wife. Protect your wife with your family immediately. That's up to you to do. It's not up to, she's coming into a situation. So she actually shouldn't, Sammy, if you can't iron, girl, it's fine. Don't iron. Do not iron. No, wait. If your man, when you're the two of you, right, that's your home. If you guys have an understanding that, okay, on ironing and stuff, it's cool, like you'll be watching TV, that's between the two of you.
You don't even have conversations about it. He's just like,
And if his mom were to come, Sam, she should first time she sees you doing that, she should not even have to question. She should respect the fact that her son has got his house under control, and she's not the mother of that house.
Do you know what the thing is? You know what the problem is? You know what the biggest problem is? And I love what you're saying. The people that we are sitting with will say, what will people say? So the mother will say,
It's not just people. Cannot you? What am I wrong with people?
So when we look at it, and I love what you said, Rudo, because you knocked it out of the park, right? You knocked it out of the park that in the same way you make that decision about who you choose to be with, the decision that you make about who you choose to be with, also you should make decisions about it. So say perfect example. We're all here and we're friends, and I say, you know what, babe, we're gonna meet Howard and Tony. Hey, you know, Tony's my boy, I love him, we've been together for many, many years, but he's a little bit judgy about these kind of things. So when he says XYZ, don't take it to heart. Tony, you're meeting my missus. Please don't be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like a double-edged sword, right? I know who he is. He respects me. I respect you. So then when he does, I said, Tony, remember, I said, please, don't do that. Babe, don't overreact. So when you come home, you'll be like, hey, you're right about that guy. I was like, actually, he toned it down because what? I asked him to tone it down. It's the same thing, marriage. Guys, you guys, one on one door or people, please. You got to respect her. She's got to do things.
I have a question to these guys. My question to you is, because I know the kind of typical Zimbo guy that you're dealing with. I know how he thinks. I know how socialized he is. I know how domesticated he is, right? So how the F are you doing it? Like, how do you date these people? Do you even date them at all?
No. The problem, guys, also let's look back. I'll take it back to my sisters. How Isusu Takakura Chinzi, equality. 1994, equality. Now 2022, equality. Who was making these men, making sure that they are prepared for this woman who is, who?
No one.
Think about your mother. Think about your sister. I'm going to be a mother-in-law. I'm a mother-in-law somewhere, somehow. I'm a tete to someone. I sometimes enable some of these behaviors as a woman, where my brother is getting married to his wife, and I'm being that. And I'm being very real and being honest. It happens.
Thank you.
Tony.
Let's throw it back to us. We are creating, or our mothers, created these monsters, judgy people sometimes because...
Are you talking about men?
I'm talking about women.
So I guess the question would be,
'cause
would
most
you
people-
guys as tetes accept the emancipated Murora?
But hang on, you know what, guys? So you were talking about me being very academic, right? Because there's a lot of theory in it. But, she's given a perfect example of real life, right? So what real life, Howard? Give me an example in your own life. What kind of examples are you facing? Yes.
Can I start?
Okay, who wants to start?
We've got a shrink. You're okay.
Cool.
You can.
So as you can, Tony, no, stop that. Guys, dish. It's got nothing to do with disrespect, but no. Do you have a? Let's wash hands as well.
Let's just some rings.
I'm kidding. No. I'm kidding. So I like to think I'm a very outgoing, loud, opinionated person, all of that. But when I got married, my husband in the courting stages knew the person he was getting involved with, right? And for me, I got into a family that they were open to drinking. So, okay, let me explain the other side. I come from a very liberal family. Like, very liberal. We party with my dad. As I said before, at family functions, he's the DJ. Very liberal, very chilled, cool. So when we got engaged, I was actually worried. I was like, ooh, like, what if will they receive me? Because I'm very outgoing. And I'd always say to myself, I'm never going to compromise on who I am. Like, if it's changing me, like, down to my soul, then it's not for me, right? So I was just lucky that I actually married someone that, okay, fine, enjoyed living life as well. But some family members on both sides would be like, hey, don't you think like you should maybe calm down a bit and
Tone
stuff
it
like
down
that?
a little bit.
And I never did. I think what I'd do is I'd read where I was. So let's say if I'm going to see another go, if I'm going to another theater and stuff, obviously I won't be like, woohoo, and all of that. Like, you read your crowd and then you act accordingly.
How did your husband support that?
He knew who I was from day one. So he actually encouraged it. And like what you're saying, in terms of, okay, so this person's like this, so like don't react this way and stuff like that. So that's what I'm actually thinking about what you're saying, is that it's good to have that communication. It's different going
Have
to
your personal person.
Exactly. It's different going to like a tete that your husband knows does not like you to drink and stuff like that. You go there with a hangover and smelling like booze. But that's up to him to protect you. Yeah.
But I also know how to act. I'm not going to go to my father-in-law's house where I know what to do, how to act in the moment. It's just 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I just know how to. I'm not going to drink even though really poor so that I don't offend them.
I know you and I are out in them, Jolo, the jungle, like, you know, because as far as I know, you're not married, right?
I'm engaged.
Or you're engaged now.
Sorry.
What kind of man are you dating?
You're very culturally.
Woke?
The traditional.
What does
man.
that do to my family?
I'm finding you happy.
Drinking, like when I went through my alcoholic phase, it really strained our relationship. But I think
So
we
you
got to
don't
a
drink
point
anymore?
where he says I can actually drink with him. But with other people, he doesn't want to hear it because he knows me.
Isn't that
And he
some kind of
knows
control?
how to. It's good for me.
But is it also because you change when you're with other people? So he wants you in a controlled environment.
That, but I think it's
he has
really.
protection?
And I didn't see that. Kuti my circles and I shanda ndiri and when I tamba naoka. The sort of people kuti maenda out madagwa anokusiya ikoko. Or they'll be talking about you tomorrow. So he would try to explain to me, stop. I don't really think we'll ever win the battle of the sexes. I don't think either side is ever going to win it because chikaenda kunana baba anamai vanochema, chikaenda kunana mai anababa vanochema. We as society are evolving. Kuti titange kutonzwisa kuti what is the right way of doing these things. I still believe it stems from respect. I don't see anything wrong with men respecting women. It doesn't mean kundi saluta, kundita captain. No, it's about unondoona sechi. Am I your slave? Am I your sexual partner strictly? Am I your worker? Am I a warmth in your bed? Am I an addition to your family? Unondoona sechi. That is what determines how you treat me. It has to be with respect. Same thing with my man. Is he my ATM? Is he my friend? Is he the father that I need in my life? Is he my guidance? Is he my light?
All right, so it's good that we had to talk about these things. Just want to bring it back a little bit, Tony. So I remember I asked you about the percentage of divorces that we're getting from the young people. You talk to people. What's causing this high divorce rate in our society?
To a certain extent, I don't know what percentage to allocate it to, but to a very large extent, it's really about the reasons why people get married in the first place in this day and age, right? So, ask any person who is thinking of getting married or is engaged to get married or whatever, and then you ask them the question like, why are you getting married? Like, why, you know? And you hear things like, oh, you know, because Nakura, or because my friends are everybody around me is getting married. I'm not getting any younger. I want to have kids while I still can, you know, things like that, right? But when you really interrogate them like individually, you realize that, you know, these are very fickle reasons to get married for, right? Some people will talk about love. Oh, I'm getting married because, you know, I love him and all of that. But love does not sustain a relationship. It doesn't. What sustains a relationship is commitment. Commitment. Commitment to stick it out no matter how messy it gets, right? So outside commitment, there is no other reason that you can point out to and say this is why because if you're getting married to her because she looks great and whatever, she's not going to be looking the same in 20 years from now. I'm not going to be looking the same in 20 years from today.
Even the way you think won't be the same, Baba.
The way I think, you know? So the commitment aspect of it is the common thing that is lacking from all of these relationships. Like people are getting into it to get theirs. You understand? Like, I'm getting in as long as you treat me a certain way, you do this for me, you do this for me, ticking box. And the moment you stop doing all of those things, I'm out.
Why would you want to get
so
married
I'm
to
committed to you. Why would I want to get married?
What would be your
need
reasons?
I need a friend
Thank
to do life with, like a friend. And I'm not even gonna say a lover, because for the most part of
Why do you
it,
have to get married then? Can't you have a long life?
No, but you know what he said? What was one of the things he said? Commitment. Right? So he's establishing a greater level of commitment so that person also understands and appreciates where they are in his life.
Called promise ring.
after a while,
I'm just saying, because people are also doing that and putting it under
diluted
commitment.
commitment.
Yeah,
It's diluted
and getting the
commitment.
whole promise ring. And
Our society promise rings. Sorry, inini ndoda urorwa. Ndoda kuti mombedzie ndokumba.
So you know another reason why I think we get divorced? Lack of compromise. Right? So I love what you talked about commitment, right? So the commitment that people make when they get married shouldn't just be a commitment to another person, but it's a commitment to accepting things, right? It's a commitment to accepting a person as they are, commitment to accepting that a person will change, right? Commitment to accepting that your environment and your circumstances will change, but with all those changes, you'll still be, that's the person that you want, right? So when you talk about compromise, it's the same thing we're talking about. I say, I love shorts. Rodo says, dude, not for today, right? I must compromise. So even if it's not a high level state house function or whatever it is, but it's just a function with family, and you say, please put on jeans. Please, I'd really like it if you could put on jeans today. Why? No, I just think that's more appropriate.
why did you get married?
So at the end of the day, that's it.
I got married because I'm going to be very real about it. I got married, I was looking at my age, I won't lie, but not in the sense of because everyone else is getting married. Of course, those pressures comes, no lie. But I was thinking, okay, I can see I'm getting older. There are certain decisions I want to make. Am I going to, because then I was dating him. There are certain decisions I want to make in life. There are certain things I want to enjoy in life. I have to start thinking about it and planning my life. Am I planning my life with this person in mind? Or I'm planning Dirindega? Because I'm a planner. And that's probably why I got married. And that, that commitment aspect and that friendship aspect to say, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to make certain life decisions by myself. That was what drove me to say, maybe marriage ain't so bad.
What a pleasure to have a show with these gorgeous women instead of those boring men like Howard and Tony. It was uplifting, it was refreshing, but ultimately it was fitting that we talked about gender roles, etc. A lot of people make out that the gender roles no longer exist, but we really knocked that on the head. It's about evolving instead of devolving. And I really liked what Sam talked about as equity. There's no equality, and ultimately it just comes down to what the two people agree in their relationship, and also how we play a role to condition our children to fully understand that you can be a man, you can be a woman, and you can do things that are not in those traditional gender roles.
Are we as women giving back what we expect from our partners in my relationship? So are we so much focused on what we want? You can love someone, but do you care about them?
I told you the truth.
You can find murume asina mari nas, but you can see kuti if I get into this person's life, he's going to be the next kind of Bill Gates.
And when he does that, he's going to leave you for a 20-year-old.
And then he's going to leave you for a 20-year-old. So, but no commitment. Whatever happens, I'm sticking with the plan.
So, one thing, I've got 2 daughters, and I'm trying to raise my daughters to be independent women. I don't want them, when they are grown, to depend on a man, because this is what I've seen. There are a lot of women who are in very abusive relationships.
I let him finish. Let him finish.
You always want to interject. What's wrong with you? Stop with your questions.
It's okay.
Hey, this guy.
See the difference with women and men? We'll be like, excuse me, Pauline.
So, I was saying there are a lot of women who are staying in very abusive relationships because you look at why they are there. They are heavily dependent on the men. I know, as men, we are talking about us being providers and all that. Now coming to the issue, and I'm raising my daughters to be independent. I don't want my daughter mangwana kuti arikuda something ungoti ndakangomirira shewe kuti vachaita. She should be independent. Kana ida kugadzira musoro ka inini chero ndiri kuziva kuti no ndofana kuti mukadzi wangu ndimugadzire musoro. But kana zvisiri kuitika, she should do that for herself. Not kuti agare with a husband because arikuda kungoti no ndichazopuwa mari. She should be her own person. Yes, you're in a relationship joined with somebody else, but make your own independent decisions when it comes to...
It's not easy. When you're married, you can't...
Can I say something?
No.
It's you first, then me.
No, you first.
I cede the floor. I cede the floor.
But guys,
mental health is important.
I don't know how I feel about the whole concept of independence. You get what I'm saying? Whether it's financial, whether it's... No.
You can't make decisions, Wega.
And the reason why I bring
About
it
your
up...
hair, yes, but about certain things.
Yeah, but you always... because ungoti murume ashandipa mari.
The reason why I bring this up is because...
Iwe nengo ichienda ubasa, unayo mani? Nengo inayo mani?
Iwe handu kwenda ubasa hizo.
Nengo chitobvumidza
100%,
kwenda.
I'm listening.
Vamwe kugumidze kwenda ubasa nokuzoti gara pamba pano.
Ndopa ni
Unozonyengwa kubasa.
I'm not too sure if I agree with, if I want the concept of independence.
A lot of things actually sound good in theory, but when we put it to practice, a lot of it's not being done. So I think it's nice that we're getting the conversation going and we're talking about hypothetical situations, but the reality is a different story. So I'd love to have another episode like this where we can be a bit more honest.
99.9% of the women that I have dated have enjoyed me providing.
How many have you dated? How many have you dated?
That's irrelevant. As his lawyer, I'm protecting him. Don't answer.
I've had conversations in forums with women, and I gave 2 scenarios at one time. And I said, what would you prefer, right? To be a kept woman? I'm not talking about abuse. Let's say this is the perfect guy, but he also provides for you, right? Would you like that, or would you like to hustle and grind like he does?
Okay, so my turn. You speak such great sense, but I also want to touch on it. So I'll touch you first. So the issue is, society has really messed us up.
Yeah.
Right? It's messed us up in that when we were growing up, we used to have to be charming to anybody. Right? If you wanted to date a woman, you had to be charming, my brother. Do you know what we do now these days? Send bottle at that table.
Yep.
Right? Send again. After a while, I said, right. Right? Nicely marinated. Gah. Hey, what's up? My name's Sam. This is my phone. Could I have your number?
Brute financial force.
BFF, my brother. Right? So what we've done now is we've socialized each other. So that's the interaction that we do. That a woman has an expectation that a man will do this, right? A man has an expectation that if he does that, that's a spawn. So it's the same way. A lot of women have an expectation that a man will take care of, and they've misconstrued the take care of. Take care is not just a financial thing. So we have a challenge there. But I think what you said is very important about our young women, right? And how we do that.
Let me qualify it. Because right now, with my daughters, I'm taking them to Zanzibar. Do you understand? We're going on holiday to Zanzibar. Why? Because you've got guys like him. Mananu nyengerwa 2 pesa a chicken with guys like him.
So that's exactly what you say. So hang on, let me finish. Let me come in. So what we need to do as fathers, right, is we need to educate our daughters. First of all, educate them about money, right? Financial literacy. And in fact, all children should have financial literacy. You know, my children have a ledger. I give them pocket money, they put the money in the ledger, and from Baba. Then when they go and they spend their money buying Lego or whatever, even their mother steals their money sometimes, and they'll be like, this is the thing. So when you do that, first of all, then the second thing, Valentine's gift day. Buy your daughter flowers. Buy your daughter flowers so you show expressions of love. And she can appreciate what an expression of love is, right? Take your kids on holiday, exactly like what you're saying. Within your capacity, huh? I'm not saying you need to break the bank and do things. If you can go to Zanzibar, absolutely. But if you can go to Great Zimbabwe, go and do it and jump in the car. I mean, we all grew up jumping in the back of a 504 and we used to drive around Zimbabwe. Before we even thought about going on holidays planes, you go stay in national parks. It's accessible. Even Victoria Falls, you're going to drive 1,000+ kilometers. Your kids will be like, oh, I'm going to Vic Falls. Then maybe as they grow older, if your capacity increases, you take them on a plane. So let your daughter have as few first experiences with another man,
Yeah, okay.
right?
Yes, so that no man will come and take advantage. Don't like Vic Falls.
She's like,
Huh?
wow.
Hey,
Right? And then the other thing is to say, do you know what? And you must do this for your children. So let's not just talk about the girls. You must always be the RBB, the Reserve Bank of Baba, right? Your children must know, no matter what happens in their lives, Chirogana, they're 50 and you are 75. They must be able to say, you know what? I made a bad decision, right? I got fired. I crashed my car. Help me, right? You must always be accessible. I'm not talking about the ability for your children to abuse, because if you've nurtured it from a proper stage where they understand and they respect money, there's a belief that they'll think, of course you'll have the errant ones. But I'm just saying, if you engender that faith and confidence in your kids, that they will never be stuck. Yeah. They'll never be stuck. And even if it's, let's just say, you know what, your kid needs $500, Monong, I'll always give you 100. They know that I always get $100 from my dad.
Can I ask a question? So, okay, cool. Noted what you said. But what are we saying to the little boys? So, young girls.
That's what I'm saying, it's balanced.
No, that's not what we're doing, guys. We're more focused
I feel like he's
on.
speaking on behalf of men, but as well, I took it as a woman who has sons. I'm going to do that for my sons as well. Somehow, I'm going to take that whole theory. I would want to apply it to my.
On the flip side of that, right, is you have groomed this independent young lady who is walking into a world full of jackals, of people who know nothing about these things, you understand? So, one of two things will happen, right? She will stay single and not get married, or she's going to marry an
you are single. You are single. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with
What's wrong? Yeah. So,
But there's probably
What is your issue?
not that there's something wrong with being single, but when you're single and you want to experience partnership, then maybe then that makes you not happy,
marriage
and there's something
is
wrong.
not an achievement.
That's what I said. For me, it's an achievement. It's an achievement for me. For me, marriage is an achievement. Why? Because to me, my achievement is not your achievement. For you, maybe Kukwirandege first agenda of Vic Falls is not an achievement. But Kwanjiri, my way to know to your achievement. I really enjoyed this conversation. I particularly love the fact that the men that we had were men who I think are evolving with us. We are evolving together. However, my problem is this conversation was not realistic. We were being very politically correct. We wanted to talk about the ideal situations. But really, is this what's going on in our personal lives, or, anyone else is watching? Is this really what's going on in your lives? Some of these issues, we still have a lot of work to do as men and women.
We can go on and on, we can have a lot of experiences that we can talk about when it comes to this. But in this world, did you say women will always be women and men will always be men?
We are supposed to always be men.
We cannot run away from our gender roles. I think we are agreed on that. I think in communication, respect, and our
thank you.
Why are we getting into these relationships?
She talked about partnership. I love that word.
Dilute it.
Why are we getting into? It's about what is your purpose. Good relationship. It will determine how you treat the other person. If they are just your runner, then.
Yeah, but partnership is cool. Companionship, because all it is at the end of, after the euphoria is gone, what you remain with is just friendship, guys.
Okay.
And that's it.
So let's end it here on the friendship
Bana
team.
bambo, tinoda kukutenda imatikuta, tadlata guta, maoko taisa. Thank you very much, guys. It was lovely spending the day.
So are the ladies going to clean up?
Well, we provided, so you guys can clean.
Okay, then I'll say bless the hands that fed us.